Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. This is your rapid-fire deep dive into today's most talked-about posts from X, bringing you the intriguing insights and surprising facts from across the digital landscape.
Exactly. Think of it as your shortcut to staying well-informed, a brisk but, comprehensive look at what's really capturing attention online right now. We've handpicked 14 significant posts for this session. We're talking technology, global affairs, market trends, culture, the works.
So what's our mission today? Pretty simple.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack these posts, give you the essential context, and explore why they matter. No getting bogged down. We're scanning today's feed, ready to roll through fresh posts without lingering too long. Let's get right into it. First up, a post from @CNViolations. It's got a video link and just asks, how did they even discover this?
Oh, yeah, I saw this one. It's actually brilliant. The video, it shows two people mimicking airport announcements.
Mimicking them how?
Just using a drum and a xylophone, and they absolutely nail that, like completely garbled, unintelligible sound you always hear over the PA system.
Huh. Right. That's instantly relatable. It's funny because it's so true.
Exactly. It taps into that universal frustration, that shared experience. It's creative humor taking a common irritation and just, nailing it. Makes it super shareable.
Definitely. Okay, from shared chuckles to something maybe a bit more profound. AI progress. At Elon Musk posted, GTA sure has come a long way. AI is progressing even faster.
Right. This is referring to something called Grok Theft Auto. It's a project developed using XAI's Grok AI, and it basically mimics the gameplay of the original Grand Theft Auto, GTA 1 specifically.
Wait, mimics the gameplay? How does that work? Is the AI writing code or...?
It's more than just spitting out code. It seems like Grok is understanding game mechanics, player actions, environment, translating complex instructions into a functional, interactive simulation. It shows Grok doing stuff way beyond just chatting, coding, game development.
That's genuinely surprising. So Musk's comment about AI progressing even faster than games, this is a prime example.
Pretty much. It underscores that exponential growth curve we keep hearing about in AI capabilities. It's
Okay.
moving incredibly fast.
Okay, let's shift gears. A much more serious post now from @Matt Vanswell. He writes, in 2022, my wife was diagnosed with a rare form of oral cancer. She'd been to doctor's offices for nearly 3 years trying to get answers. Quote, we heard the same refrain over and over again. Go home. It's probably a COVID symptom. You look healthy. It's probably nothing. Well, and there's a link.
Yeah, this is a tough one. It highlights a really critical diagnostic delay right in the middle of the pandemic response. His wife's rare oral cancer symptoms were apparently dismissed as potential COVID symptoms for almost 3 years.
3 years. And it turned out to be invasive squamous cell carcinoma, leading to major surgery.
That's right, removal of a third of her tongue. It lines up, unfortunately, with data showing an increase in late-stage oral cancer diagnoses during that period.
It really raises serious questions, doesn't it, about how healthcare systems prioritize things during COVID? Were other critical conditions potentially overlooked systemically?
It seems possible. I mean, the focus on COVID was obviously necessary, but this story suggests it might have created blind spots. It points to maybe a systemic issue where diagnostic pathways got compromised under pressure, leading to tragic delays for some patients.
A sobering reminder of the pandemic's less obvious impacts. Okay, moving on. Let's look at two posts together about the Canadian job market. First, at Zero Hedge, Canada loses 40.8K jobs in July, below all estimates, and Canada enters recession. And then at Watcher Guru, just in, Canada loses 40,800 jobs in July, largest monthly decline since the COVID pandemic link.
Right, so both posts making this big claim, 40,800 jobs lost in Canada in July. Sounds dramatic.
Extremely. But what's the actual picture?
Well, the official numbers tell a different story. Reuters, Statistics Canada, they reported an actual loss of about 2,800 jobs.
2,800 versus 40,800. That's a
Yeah.
massive difference. Where does that kind of discrepancy come from?
It could be a few things. Sensationalism, maybe misinterpreting preliminary data, possibly even cherry-picking numbers to fit, a specific narrative. The key thing is Canada's unemployment rate actually held steady at 6.4%, and the Bank of Canada is still forecasting GDP growth. So that whole Canada enters recession line seems like a serious exaggeration based on the official data.
Interesting how quickly those big numbers can spread online, though.
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn to the U.S. A post from @RightAngleNews. Breaking. It has been revealed that D.C. Police Commander Michael Pulliam was placed on leave after he and MPD command directed officers to downgrade felony reports and alter crime classifications, such as felony assault, deliberately manipulating data to falsely show a 26% drop.
Wow. Okay, those are incredibly serious allegations, directing officers to basically cook the books on crime stats.
Exactly. Falsely showing a 26% drop by downgrading felonies. And the report also mentions issues like potentially misidentifying racial demographics, like marking Hispanic individuals as white.
Which would further skew the data, right? This isn't the first time we've heard about allegations of data tampering in police departments, unfortunately.
True. But what happens when public trust in that fundamental crime data gets eroded like this?
Well, it's hugely damaging. It misinforms the public, misdirects resources, undermines the credibility of law enforcement entirely. If people can't trust the numbers, it just breeds misinformation and makes effective policing much, much harder.
Definitely a situation to watch. Okay, next up, something a bit lighter, but still in the political sphere. From @EricEldo, say LMAO. JD Vance just revealed the moment that went viral among Democrats for him having a weird run at Disneyland was because he was playing a game called Ogre with his children. Well, imagine that. The left hates parenting. So I was like, oh, he runs funny. My link.
Right, the context here is key. Apparently, that viral clip of JD Vance running strangely at Disneyland wasn't just running strangely. He explained he was playing a game called Ogre with his kids, deliberately running slowly while chasing them.
Ah, the classic context collapse of social media.
Yeah.
A playful moment gets clipped, goes viral, and is immediately interpreted through a political lens.
Precisely. It shows how easily innocent moments can be amplified and totally misinterpreted, often based on people's existing biases rather than, what was actually happening. Everything becomes polarized.
A perfect example.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift to pop culture. At Hoopmix Only shared an image simply captioned, "This is perfect."
Ha! Yes, this one was great. It's a side-by-side comparing NBA player Klay Thompson and rapper Megan Thee Stallion
Shahoo.
to Kip and LaFondue from the movie Napoleon Dynamite. And the resemblance, stylistically, is uncanny. Clay's headscarf, Megan's vibe. It just clicks perfectly with that quirky movie couple.
That is perfect. It's amazing how Napoleon Dynamite still resonates enough to fuel memes like this, almost 20 years later?
Totally. It's got those iconic looks and characters. It's that unique visual identity that makes it such fertile ground for memes, connecting it to totally different people and situations. Still got legs.
Clearly. All right, next, a potentially major development in foreign policy reported by @NickSorotor. Breaking. President Trump has just signed a directive for the Pentagon to use military force against foreign drug cartels, per NYT. This is long overdue. Mexico and Venezuela have refused to fight the cartels for far too long, so Trump is taking unilateral action. Sex-link.
Okay, this is significant. The report via the New York Times says President Trump has directed the Pentagon to use military force against foreign cartels. And crucially, it seems they're leveraging the 2001 AUMF, the authorization for use of military force passed after 9/11 to do this, targeting groups like the Sinaloa cartel, which they've linked to fentanyl trafficking and designated as a foreign terrorist organization.
Wow. Using a post-9/11 AUMF against drug cartels. That's a huge shift, isn't it? Moving away from law enforcement operations towards direct military action.
It's a massive shift. Decades of policy have generally treated this as a law enforcement issue, maybe with some intelligence support. This directive suggests a unilateral military approach framed as a response to inaction by other countries.
What are the potential ripple effects internationally?
Huge potential ramifications, strained diplomatic relations, accusations of violating sovereignty. It could really redefine how the U.S. confronts transnational crime, moving towards more direct military intervention. A very big deal.
Definitely one to keep a close eye on. Now let's talk about student loans. A post from @WallStreetApes really caught my eye. American took out a student loan. She borrowed under $28K. She's paid back $38K. Her current balance owed is $58K. That's $68K of interest on a $28K loan so far. I don't care what anyone says, this is criminal. Interest terms like this need to be illegal. I have been linked.
Yeah, that example is just staggering. It perfectly illustrates the crushing power of compound interest on student loans. Borrowed $28K, paid back $38K, still owes $58K.
Meaning $68,000 in interest has piled up on that initial loan. It's mind-boggling.
It really is, and it taps into why there's so much anger and frustration around student debt, which is now over $1.6 trillion in the U.S. The post calling it criminal, that resonates with a lot of people calling for reform.
How does the interest even get that high, especially when someone is making payments?
It's often down to how interest capitalizes, meaning unpaid interest gets added back to the principal loan amount, and then you pay interest on the new, higher total. plus some repayment plans, while lowering monthly payments might not even cover the interest accruing each month. So the balance just keeps growing. It's a tough cycle.
A system that seems broken for many. Speaking of broken systems, here's a post from @UnusualWhales. Kamala Harris says she's not running for office again because the system is broken per Fortune.
Right. This refers to a Fortune report stating that Vice President Harris doesn't plan to seek office again after her term ends in 2025, citing disillusionment with the U.S. political system itself, calling it broken.
It's quite a statement from someone at her level, and it does echo wider public sentiment, doesn't it? Polls show many Americans feel the system needs major changes.
Absolutely. It raises that question. Is this just a personal decision driven by her own experiences with political gridlock and scrutiny, or does it signal something bigger?
Like a trend of experienced people just opting out because they feel the system is too dysfunctional to work within.
It could be a bit of both. If high-profile figures start stepping away because they see the system itself as the problem, it certainly suggests a depth or crisis of confidence in our political institutions. Something worth thinking about.
Indeed. Okay, let's look at culture and satire. @Ancesthetics posted this analysis of a South Park episode. South Park goes over the top to try to mock the right and provoke a response. Doesn't work. The right is like, cool, was kind of funny. Left freaks out that the right isn't freaking out. South Park is forced to shift gears or continue with a played-out joke. Total right link.
Okay, so this is about an episode satirizing the activist Charlie Kirk. South Park depicted him winning a Master Debating Award while spouting controversial stuff. The post argues the satire didn't provoke the intended reaction from the right, causing the left to react instead, and suggests South Park's usual approach isn't working in the current climate.
And the post links this to a right-wing domination narrative, which connects to real-world strategies, right? Like Kirk's group, Turning Point USA, leaning into Christian nationalism to expand their reach.
Exactly. The satire is bumping up against a political movement that's actively trying to reshape cultural narratives. It shows how political messaging and entertainment are increasingly intertwined, and how satire itself is trying to navigate this really polarized, complex landscape where mockery doesn't always land like it used to.
Fascinating dynamic. All right, sticking with technology, but with a worrying angle. @EndWokeness posted, "This is bad. Mass extinction level bad." Image link. What's this about?
The image linked is a Statista infographic, and it shows that Reddit is apparently the top source for training data for major large language models, LLMs, like Grok and ChatGPT.
Wow, Reddit. More than Wikipedia or YouTube.
According to this data, yes. Which raises immediate flags, right? Because Reddit is all user-generated content.
And potentially biased content, depending on the subreddit and moderation. If AI is learning primarily from Reddit, what does that mean for AI neutrality and accuracy?
That's the huge concern. Relying so heavily on a platform known for, let's say, certain leanings in its moderation and user base could embed those biases directly into the AI. You risk creating AI that reflects partisan viewpoints, inaccuracies, or stereotypes found in the training data. It's a massive challenge for responsible AI development.
Definitely sounds like a potential problem. Okay, finally, let's jump across the pond to the UK. A post from @InevitableWest. Breaking. 420K British citizens have signed a petition calling for an immediate general election in just 72 hours. Keir Starmer must comply. Link.
420,000 signatures in 72 hours. That's incredibly fast. It easily surpasses the 100,000 needed to trigger a debate in Parliament.
So it reflects a pretty significant surge in public discontent, yeah. Especially aimed at Keir Starmer's Labour government, which has had some low approval ratings.
Absolutely. It signals a real depth of frustration. Now, historically, these petitions rarely force a government to call an early election on their own. You usually need more like major protests or a formal vote of no confidence.
But still, that number in that time frame, it sends a powerful message, doesn't it?
Undeniably. It tells the government that a large, vocal segment of the public is deeply unhappy and wants change now. Even if it doesn't force an election, it ramps up the political pressure significantly, a clear sign of the public mood. So, quite a range today. We've gone from AI mimicking video games and the intricacies of student loan interest to serious questions about healthcare delays and potential shifts in military policy.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to see the sheer variety of what bubbles up online and how quickly narratives form, sometimes ahead of the facts, like with those Canadian job numbers. Remember, staying informed isn't just catching the headlines. It's about trying to understand that context underneath.
Which leads to a good question for you, our listener. How does digging into the context behind these kinds of viral posts actually change how you perceive the news and the information flying around online?
Something to chew on. We hope this quick tour through today's vibe casting gave you some valuable insights. Until next time, keep digging for that knowledge.